Hey, Peter.
Good morning, Peter.
Hey, Sharon. How you doing?
Sharon is muted.
Hi, Donna.
I'll unmute her. Hi, I got you, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right, as people join, I'm just going to give some basic rules here. Everyone should stay muted except for our presenters. So if you would take the time to mute yourselves. We're going to be taking questions through chat. Our friend Sharon Simonelli will be watching chat hopefully throughout. If not, I can definitely help as well. I'm going to be policing a lot of the muting, because we don't know who's going to be joining. So just stay tuned, and we're going to start around 11:15. We're expecting Charlie, our board legal counsel, will be the one leading us, but our friend Donna, our president, is going to lead us off once we get this rolling. And again, Sharon, myself, our men-at-arms, women-at-arms, to keep control of the conversation and keeping everybody mute. So we truly appreciate everybody joining us today right now, and just bear with us as we get this thing started. So thank you. Hi, Sharon. Morning, Amber, Kathleen. Good morning, Doreen. Hi, Eric. Hi, Joni, Joel, Nancy. Welcome, everybody. So Margaret Hartman, I see, is on. Jill Welfare. I see Charlie's on now. Charlie, I've unmuted you, so we're going to start around 11:15. So
okay.
I think Donna's going to open up with everything. John may say a couple of words, and then we're going to turn it over to you. So just so you know, can you hear me okay, Charlie?
I can, thank you.
All right, cool. I'm going to remute you just so you have, in case you're reviewing notes and what have you, and then I'll unmute you when we're ready. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm on standby.
We truly appreciate it. Let's see. So about maybe 9 minutes, everybody, as we let people get in here. We may give an extra minute or two. Hi, Donna. Oh, wait a minute, Donna. Let me unmute you. Go ahead, Donna.
Oh my God, I hate being muted. That's crazy.
Well, we got to keep it under control. Unfortunately for you, that's not what we didn't do it on purpose.
You're good. Can you help John, because I think he's trying to get into the other one and he can't he can't get in.
All right, give me I will take care of that. 1 second. Yep, thank you.
Okay. Shut my shade here. Okay. I can't hear anybody now.
All right, he's heading in, so I got him hooked up.
Okay.
Good morning to those who just joined us. I just want to let you know we're going to be starting shortly. Make sure. Hi, Gina. Yeah, make sure you mute yourself, because we're going to keep everybody kind of locked down for the time being. So we have all the people who are inviting here to speak openly. John, I'll unmute you. There you go, John. Good morning, John. John Leonardi has joined us.
Good morning, everyone.
I've got everybody muted, so I know they'll probably want to say good morning, but they can't. So, but yeah. So, but as everyone joins, we're going to keep everybody muted. We have a couple of sergeant-at-arms, if you will, Sharon Simonelli, myself, and others will try and keep everybody muted, so we can focus on the speakers, our president, Donna Littlefield, our CEO, John Leonardi, and our Charlie Martirano, our legal counsel for BNAR. We should be starting in about 6 to 8 minutes.
Well, why don't you unmute us?
You're unmuted.
Let us chit chat. We can just say hey to each other. Then you mute us when, like in, zero countdown. You don't want to?
I will do whatever the Madam President asked me to do.
Yeah, let us chit chat. We could just chit chat. How's everybody doing?
Give me a moment.
And then you can mute us when we start getting more and more in. This way we can say hi as they're coming in.
All right. Well, some people
Hey,
may be
see? Oh
talking.
my God. Silence.
Free.
Be careful what you wish for.
Hi, Gina.
Hi.
I know. We're just going to say hi.
Hi, Mary Jane.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, there's
Everybody, we're going to
I
wait
don't
for
think
everybody
this
to
is
come on.
If we don't say hi to everybody, that means we can't see you. So
Yeah. Right. I only get.
you can go to the second page. Look at that. There's Shalia.
Did I lose
Can you
everybody?
mute me, please?
I see my
Was that
name, but I
Jody? Did you
don't
ask to
see
be muted?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll mute you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
There.
There's
There we go.
Donna.
I know I hit a button.
So we're going to start in about 6 or so minutes, everybody.
Yeah, we could just say, hey, how everybody's doing, right?
Yeah.
And Doreen.
Okay, here's the question. How much alcohol has everyone consumed in the last 24 hours?
Oh, a lot.
Be
The
honest.
stores are open. The liquor,
What?
thank God, the liquor stores are open. Can you
Thank
imagine?
God. It's right.
Can you imagine if it wasn't?
No.
In your coffee right now.
People in my house would not, the coronavirus wouldn't be the threat.
That's a good one.
Oh.
There's no Baileys in my coffee.
That's
Will-
what I was asking.
I don't have anything in mind.
There will be after this meeting.
Would you like
Oh
some?
my gosh. Can't even imagine.
I just added a little coffee to my Bailey's.
That works too.
Hi, Amber.
Hi, beautiful.
On the oh, you got the beautiful scenery in the background. I don't have a beach scenery. I got the bridge, which is, I've tried not to jump off of. But
Did a couple
I hate
times.
putting it up because that's what everybody says. You ready to jump, Donna?
Yep.
No.
Mine's here. My pace thing says Century 21 Gold Standard, but it's Jerry Thompson for anybody that doesn't know me.
Morning, Jerry.
Jerry, you can change
Morning,
that.
Jerry.
Morning.
Jerry, if you'd like, you can change that by hovering on your face. There's 3 little dots. Click on that guy and it'll say rename. You can change it.
On the face, the dots show up if I hover on
Yeah.
it?
Right
Yeah.
on your face.
Hmm.
Hover right-hand corner of your box. It'll do 3 little dots.
I get more meeting settings. I don't get a name. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to figure it. No, I don't get it. I'm on an iPad.
Okay.
It's,
No, I'm on an iPad. You get it, but it depends, I guess, on the age of it.
John may have to change it, or Pete. I don't know who's the.
Yeah.
We know, yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Or just call me Century 21 Gold Standard. I'll get it.
Okay, everybody, we got about 2 minutes, so get whatever kind of refreshments, coffee, water, and we'll get started shortly.
I just renamed you, Jerry. Did I get it right? I did it.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Pete. I appreciate
got
it.
Guys, it's Joe Welfare. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I don't know why my screen is blank.
Because you didn't say accept video.
I did, and it's not
Covered or something?
It's people all have their faces on.
tape off your camera.
I don't have a piece of tape on my camera. I even put makeup on for this.
No, first time in a month.
Yeah, right?
Usually if you hover, it should say start video.
There you go.
Huh. I don't know.
Hi, Lisa.
Okay, well, I got this video going now, so you have to just, if you want to listen or just Because I'm,
Well, do you want to do the play-by-play? That's all I really.
okay, then I'll call you back. I will.
Okay, you just let me know when we're good to go. Mute everybody up, Peter, and I'll
Yeah, I'm
start
gonna
the
mute.
meeting.
All right. Yep, I'm gonna mute everybody at this time. We're about to take this started. I will unmute Charlie, Donna, and John once we've muted everybody. So everyone, make sure you stay muted the entire time. We're gonna take questions through chat. So if you have questions, we're gonna let them speak, let everyone talk, and then Sharon Seminelli, our Sergeant at Arms, will then list off questions to Donna to let her know what, and Charlie and John to be able to manage those questions. So
Okay.
chat, okay? And I'm muting everybody. Hold on. Hold tight while I find John. He disappeared. There he is. John, you know how to unmute yourself. Good.
Yep. Donna, we about 15 seconds and then you could start, please.
Okay.
I gotta find Charlie. Hang on.
Let me know when you find him and I'll go.
He has been unmuted as well. So Charlie, you're unmuted.
Hey,
Peter,
Charlie.
I can't see anything.
I'm not sure why you can't see. We can hear you, Charlie, though. So
He didn't hit his audio.
Yeah. Can you hear? Can you hear us, Charlie?
I can, but I thought I'd be on with the vision. I don't know. Is
Yeah,
there
I don't
some
know.
press help? Does that make a difference?
No, help will not help. You need to either click on yourself and then, or down at the bottom and look at start video. There, if you slide below, again, I can't see your screen, but if you can slide down to the bottom, there's a stop video, mute, or start video. If you can hit the start video, that should enable your video to turn on.
I've just got something that says, how easy was that?
Should be on the bottom left, Charlie.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You want to hit video, Charlie? It should say video. And then you hit that.
Yeah. It says launching.
Let's see.
Can you see me, Peter?
No, yeah, nobody can see it. We just have your name up, so your video hasn't started.
No, but okay, so maybe that's the reason. Says if nothing prompts from browser, click here.
Yeah, it should. Well, that should have actually opened up. So it looks like you're just using the web version of it and not the full app that was installed, because that's why
I clicked on whatever link you gave me.
Yeah, but it should have popped up and asked you to open Zoom, the actual app that was installed by your IT folks. But you may not be able to see it, but I don't know if we want to. As long as you're okay with talking, right? I know you can't see everybody, but I think as long as you can talk and we can hear you, I think we should still be at least decent, because I don't know if we're going to be able to troubleshoot this at this moment.
How many people do we have on, Peter?
125 at this moment.
All right. You want to get going, Charlie? Are you okay with us getting going?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was hoping to see everybody, but.
Sorry, Charlie.
How about we just
take a laptop? If you are, you might need to minimize whatever screen you're on right now, and possibly the video is on a.
Oh, there we go.
Yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then, by the way, then you should start video in the top bottom corner then if the app is there now.
Can you see me now?
As Sprint would say, no, we cannot.
Can you see us, Charlie?
No.
I can see you, Donna, yes.
All right. You can see me. Good.
Camera is covered.
Start video.
Your camera's covered. Is that what
There's
it
a
is? The
button that
camera's
says
covered?
share screen.
No,
Start
your
video.
screen is in the middle, so to the left should be a stop and start video.
So, okay, so I click on that.
Yeah, the start video, and that should automatically open it up.
There you go.
There he is.
Looking
Thank
good.
you.
Charles.
Technology.
Okay, Madam President.
I know.
Please.
Hi, Charles. Okay, welcome everybody. Donna Littlefield, President of 2020. So before we get started, everyone's phone will be obviously muted. We're going to have a chat we're going to use the chat button. That'll be, I believe, on top. Where's the chat button, Peter? You're going to display that, correct? When
It should be, yeah.
answering questions.
We
Okay.
can't display it, but the chat is at the bottom of most people's screens.
Okay.
Toward where the start video, all that. So click
Okay.
that chat button. It should open up another window next to all of us, and then you can
Okay.
go ahead and type. Thank you.
Perfect. So after my opening remarks, John Leonardi, our CEO, will speak, followed by our association legal counsel, Charlie Manorana, who we can now see. So late yesterday, NYSAR sent out a news alert that the ESD has now declared real estate essential. This is an alarming change that we were not prepared for. We did not receive any warning from NYSAR, and it has totally shifted our business practices. This is a tremendous amount of concern for the welfare of our members, for their family, and for the public. I'm asking that as owners and managers, we come together and stand down until this afternoon in order for the leadership team to draft safety procedures and protocols for our collective agents. We have had one member pass from COVID-19. This is unprecedented. This is an unprecedented situation. And while there are some of our members who applaud the decision, the vast majority, and I'll just tell you myself quickly, my phone has been blowing up all the way into 5 o'clock this morning saying, please protect us. I haven't got many that want to be out there. I have a lot of people who have underlying conditions that are sick, that are afraid. But it is what it is. We need to be on the same page. That's super important. John, you can go.
Yeah, not to belabor this, the majority of the executive team has been up into the middle of the night. We were up early this morning on Zoom meetings, phone calls, talking with Charlie. We're asking that this group, 132 of you actually, consider just giving us several hours before we unleash the members. We understand everyone is eager to get out there, show houses, do their business, but we didn't get any guidance from NYSAR or the ESD. New York State legally and technically is still under the order of the governor. It's a stay-at-home order. Things are changing rapidly, and hopefully we'll be able to communicate some of these changes today. But just understand, we don't have all the answers. So, and we will do the best we can to get the answers to you. We just need some time to build a safety protocol so that everyone, the members, their families, and the public are safe. Charlie?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, John and Donna. Very helpful statements of introduction. And usually when I talk about legal things, I like to say, I know what I'm talking about. And to some degree I don't, but there are a lot of unknowns here. And I want to be upfront about that, that we don't have all the answers to questions. So we will engage in the discussion to the best we can. I just want to first speak about a little bit of foundation from, again, a legal standpoint. So the governor has taken extremely unusual and strong action. And I want to assure you from a legal perspective that by virtue of the Constitution and New York law, particularly the executive law, he has this authority. This is not something that Governor Cuomo has just dreamed up and said, I'm going to do it. And in particular, on March 7, he declared a state of emergency because he determined that there was a disaster that was affecting all people in New York. And as a result of the authority that he has, he can, in essence, suspend or delay any statute, any law, any regulation, rule, whatever you want to call it, that is out there that he deems, again, he deems may prevent or hinder the rescue that he is trying to put together for and minimize the emergency that has been declared. So he has that authority and it's in effect now. And while he has changed dates into April, for all purposes, it's whenever date he determines he will stop or modify that suspension. And just again, generally stated here, like John indicated, he has issued a series of executive orders, and the one that is most in particular applicable to us is one that he issued on March 22 that applies to all businesses, all not-for-profits, no matter how they're described, partnerships, whatever they might be, LLCs, to work from home at 100% unless they are deemed an essential business. So already we have a general law, a general rule by order rather, and then a carve out of what are essential businesses. And those are to be determined by the Empire State Development Group. And they have indeed done that. They issue guidance that is updated fairly regularly, but immediately they exempted certain personnel and businesses and activities, as you might expect, hospitals, doctors, food suppliers, and significantly, with some degree of humor, the liquor and beer stores. So unfortunately, in that initial declaration of essential businesses, real estate brokers were not included. I say unfortunately only because you have a livelihood that you have to take care of, you have families, you have properties that you have to take care of, and the revenue here is extremely difficult to continue if you can't do work, okay? So we recognize that, and for whatever it's worth to you, our law firm similarly had to abide by this stay-at-home rule, and I am not allowed to go to my law office. Fortunately, we have good technology, as I think most of you do and hope you do, that permits you to work from home with your computers and through your cell phones and whatnot. So we have, in addition to the information of the guidance that the state has issued, they have frequently asked questions, and much more than what I can say today. If you have any questions or further need for information, certainly John, the team, and I are available, but also you can refer to the governor's website and the Empire State Development website. All you need to do is put Empire State Development into your search, and you will find an easy reference to that rather than me giving you anything. Now, the other aspect to this is that there is teeth to the law, or the order, I should say. So the teeth are, number one, that the Attorney General and all the other state agencies continue with their powers of investigation and their sanction powers. And notably, with regard to this order, the $2,000 per violation is the monetary sanction that is there. And then more significantly, there's a misdemeanor, which is a criminal charge that can be imposed on people that are determined to be in violation. And so that isn't to be taken lightly. A misdemeanor allows a court to put somebody in jail for up to 1 year. And I would submit to you that even 1 day is very painful. So that's to be kept in mind in terms of compliance. And we have also already in our law office learned of at least 2 businesses that were greeted by the not so pleasant greeting from the Attorney General that said, "Why are you still in business? Explain yourself. And if you don't have a good reason, we're going to shut you down and sanction you." So we know this is out there. And the other part to this is that the ESD has stated in their guidance that anyone that believes that they are aggrieved has the right to file a complaint with the Attorney General and, significantly from your perspective, the Department of State. These are scary times for all of us, and I don't say any of this to scare anybody further or to frighten you, but just to give you the context in which we are trying to work. And so we move from the general prohibition that is out there. So when I was preparing for this talk, my thinking cap was on about how can we address your ability to keep working from home or by remote distance. And the analogy that I was thinking about was, all right, there's property in the Adirondacks, and you have a buyer that you know who's in California. And so you want to be able to help your buyer who's in California to be able to see that property in the Adirondacks and to help him purchase that property. You can't drive to the Adirondacks. Your man in California can't come here. So we can do this all by computers, virtual tours, that ideally the seller in the Adirondacks has put together a virtual tour that is very helpful. And your buyer in California says, I want that property. And we can do a cash deal. Here's my offer. He prepares a purchase offer based on a form that you have emailed to him, and he signs it with either wet ink or an authenticator through an electronic signature. Sends that to you by email. You are able then to look at it, be sure it's in order, and you forward it on to the seller or the seller's broker, if there is one. The seller is able to do the analysis. Maybe you negotiate by phone back and forth over what are the terms. You come to a conclusion, people are agreed, and the seller signs, and now you have a contract. So you have your business in place is going forward, at least with this hypothetical transaction. And the broker in the Adirondacks has a listing agreement that presumably under these circumstances, he has arranged or she has arranged for by similar electronic means, email, electronic signatures, back and forth. And again, that broker is in business in terms of a listing agreement. So that's where I was going until yesterday. So we have this unique situation that the state has given us as of last night, and ESD is certainly within its rights to make these determinations, as I say, by law. And so pursuant to that determination, now we have a bit of a crack that is opened for realtors that previously, up until yesterday, was not in effect. So first of all, the new determination went into effect just last night, and it went into effect immediately. And the language that we have is not abundantly clear. So if you keep in mind the prohibition that I generally stated before, everybody's to work from home, in-person contacts are to be minimized, and when you do, according to the guidance, stay at least 6 feet away. So now we have the following functions of real estate and or realtors are considered essential. And I quote, residential home and commercial office showings, home inspections, and residential appraisers. Back office real estate work is deemed essential. We'll talk about that in a bit, but please utilize telecommuting, or work from home procedures to the maximum extent possible, okay? So we don't know, by virtue of that statement, what do showings really mean? We don't completely know what home inspections really means. We have ideas, and we don't know what back office work means in terms of what the ESD has stated. So we're left with what guidance can we obtain to understand these terms? And we have some information that NYSAR has put out there in their FAQs that I refer you to try to understand some of these terms and what they mean. But in terms of what I think we can say here, and again, whatever I say today can be changed tonight, tomorrow, or whenever. So I don't in any way propose to tell you that I know what we're completely talking about here. So everything that I said before about that California purchaser trying to buy property in the Adirondacks still holds here So if you have a buyer in the city of Buffalo who is looking to buy a property in Amherst, and one broker wants to get the listing for the property in Amherst, that broker should continue to do that by way of email and electronic communications, as opposed to meeting in person to get that signed up. Number one. Number two, the buyer that you have from Buffalo that wants to see the property in Amherst, if you want to have your conferences with that person as broker, you should do that by phone. You should try to keep your distance by doing the telecommuting that we have been prescribed by the state. The visit to do the showing can be done in person. And so the question is, how do we do this? The buyer says, I would like you to take me there. And I would like to, while we're there, I've got 2 other properties that I have in my mind. Can you pick me up? So this is a point of decision that you as a broker have to make. Do I want to do this? The answer from the best guidance that we can offer is no. Tell the buyer, I will meet you at the home in Amherst at a given time, and we'll see the property together. I have access because there's a super box or the seller will be there. And so under the new rule, you can do that, all right? Before, I would have said, have the buyer, and you can arrange with the seller to have them go there together. But now we can have this showing. Let's take another example of a showing. So you have a very hot property in the city of Buffalo, and you know a lot of people want that property. So you say, all right, I'm going to get the word out there, and it's a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. All you buyers that are interested, you communicate with the broker by telephone or email. I'm setting up a schedule. We'll start at 9 in the morning, and we'll have appointments all day long. So from the standpoint of how to do that, it's leaving sufficient time so that one can come in and can leave, and the next one can come in without seeing each other. And ideally, that's what you would do anyway, but we know people are eager and they say, sorry, I'm early. In that case, you say, hold it, stand outside, you cannot come in. So again, these are just protective steps that you can take to guard yourself and your other party. And inside, with respect to walking around, again, you can do the showing. Inside, you have parties just standing apart from each other. Now, in those personal encounters, I know there's a question that was presented, whether you should wear masks. You can wear anything you want to protect yourself, as far as I'm concerned. And I think nobody's going to dispute me. If you want to wear a military gas mask, go right ahead. If you want to wear a simple mask, that's fine. If you don't want to wear a mask, that's your choice. We don't have enough. There you go. Donna's got it. We don't have enough data and scientific information here to tell us what will be 100% preventative. So just keep that in mind. The showing, as I mentioned, if you have multiple parties, be sure to space it, not only to protect yourself, but also everybody else that comes through. The same is true with regard to home inspections. That too has been allowed under the new carve-out of the prohibition. So again, when you're doing the initial review with the licensed property inspector, who now has also been allowed to be active in person, that home inspector can be there at the same time. And again, the caution is protect yourselves, be distant, and not expose yourselves unnecessarily. And of course, if you see people sneezing, coughing, that should be a warning to you that you have to take extra precautions, if not leave. The other party that has been also authorized are residential appraisers. So appraisers, you don't necessarily have to be there when the appraiser is conducting the business. Up until yesterday, my information was that most appraisers were just doing drive-bys, and maybe they'll continue to do that because it's more efficient for them. So long as their lender doesn't mind and is okay with that. The other aspect here about the back office real estate work that is now deemed essential. Again, we don't have a clear definition of what that is. And when you look at the general prohibition, which says, don't go to your office, work from home, and conduct your business from home, and minimize to the best degree you can any in-person contact. So in terms of the back office real estate work, the best advice based on my communication with other counsel and what we can glean from the NYSAR and ESD guidance is that there's an example that ESD has given, which is, and I briefly digress to make the point, a manufacturer of medical equipment is still allowed to do what they did before the prohibitions. So a medical manufacturer is manufacturing all these masks or whatever they're doing. And so that continues. That particular manufacturer, in the example that ESD has given, also had another section in the plant that manufactured toys. So the people who manufactured the toys are not allowed, pursuant to the order, to be there to do that work. That work is not considered essential. Similarly, with regard to the support that the medical manufacturer has with regard to supervisors, with regard to accountants, payroll clerks, lawyers, and others like that, unless they are essential to that manufacturing process, they are not supposed to be present at the manufacturing plant. They should be doing their work from home to the best degree that's possible. And so the same concept, if you will, should apply to your business. So if we don't have to be in the office to do the tasks that are there, if we don't need the personnel that would be doing that in the office and they can do it effectively from home, that's what they should be doing. So that's sort of the general background and detail as best as I can apply it to what you're doing and your important work. And I realize in particular the great strain and burden that you are on, but we are all under similar strains and burdens, and the essence of life is to stay safe and live long. So I have a few questions that
Charlie, real quick.
John has provided, but I'll wait for you.
Yeah, real quick. I know we've got some questions. Sharon's going to go over those regarding video and some other things. I just want to reiterate that the leadership team has been working feverishly on this issue. And we have a lot of good questions. And again, we may not have all the answers, but we will do the very best we can to make sure the members are safe, the public is safe, and that we can continue business. Sharon, do you want to start with some of the questions?
Yes. Okay. The first question is, will you make this recording available for teams so that they can present it or managers to their agents?
Yes, we will.
Okay. Can some kind of hold harmless clause be drawn up?
Okay, so we can prepare a waiver or a hold harmless document that presumably a prospective buyer or seller would be willing to sign. And to the degree that that document can protect you, that is, the person knowingly comes to the property and waives any concerns about safety and will do whatever they can to maintain their own safety. Generally stated, we can prepare something like that. And it'll be a give and take, whether people will be willing to sign something like that. There is no obligation on the part of the person you're asking to sign that to do so. And you may get into further complications about, I have to let my lawyer see it or whatever. But it's certainly worth a possibility. And I repeat, I cannot assure you that that would ever hold up in a court proceeding, because we are on going forward here, and there will be claims that people will bring against either you or other persons because you invited them into a property. And generally stated, there is a concept that you, even though you don't own that property or are responsible for its maintenance, can be held accountable if you know or reasonably should know that there's a risk or danger in that property. Typically, these things have been along the lines of there's a broken floor, there's an exposed electrical situation, or something that poses a danger to people. We've even had situations where somebody's dog comes out and attacks people. So those are past type of incidents. We're on a new territory here about what are the impacts from proceeding, and particularly given the dire warnings that we have received about contact with other people and touching surfaces that may have been exposed.
Thank you, Charlie. Next question. If they sneeze and cough, how do we protect the people who live there? We're bringing them into the house.
Yeah, my only answer, just to understand, this is the prospective buyer coming in, and you see he or she is sneezing and coughing. From the best advice I can give you is say, go home and we'll do this another time. Take a virtual tour and put your offer in if you really are interested. We know of purchasers that put in offers for properties unseen, so it's not unheard of. But again, the key concern here is safety. And going back to question number one, we don't want people to be exposed to problems that later will be claimed that there's a liability and you knew it when it happened.
The next one is, thank you for doing this, Charlie and BNAR. Charlie, what about the rights of the seller in letting people in their homes, especially home inspectors and appraisers touching things? What about conducting virtual appraisals?
Well, to the extent that you can conduct a virtual appraisal, that can be done and should be done. With regard to touching property and so forth, we had, for example, today in our home, a furnace repairman come because we were experiencing, unfortunately, some problem last night. The man came in and he had his boots covered with those kind of protective coverwear. He had gloves on and he had a mask sitting in his jacket. So in terms of that response to that question, I would encourage people that are going to touch things to be with protective garb and protective gloves and so forth until we know better. And you, the broker, might help in terms of that visit to have those things handy and say, here, put these on.
Next one is, agents are independent contractors and have always worked at will. Buyers and sellers also can choose which is best for them. Is it the same now? If someone feels it is unsafe, they certainly can pass until they are ready. One of the BNAR's jobs is to calm down our members and let them know we will get through this. No one is expected to put themselves in an unsafe place. When counseling our members, please extend a calm rather than throwing fuel on the fire.
Donna?
I take that more as a comment than a question, right?
Right.
Thank you.
Next, how
Hold
about
on.
a seller's consent form for
Hold
showing?
on, Sharon.
Oh, sorry.
Please. Let me unmute her. Okay, Donna.
You're going to be sorry you unmuted me. I'm kidding. So just really quick, just so you know, whoever made that comment, which is, it's a good comment, we're not the ones putting the fire or the fuel in the fire. We work diligently to stop it and make it so that doesn't happen by answering emails. And I can't tell you how hard we've been working, sometimes 10 hours a day, nonstop on this from beginning to end. So we need all of the managers and all of the broker owners to be on the same page that we are. And I think then if we are, that will calm us down. That is the big issue here. We are not all on the same page. We're fighting for something, and we have real estate agents coming to us and going to a crazy Facebook page. Where are the broker managers during all this? So I think the broker managers, with all due respect, please don't kill me, need to help us. We need help. We need to be unified. Go ahead. I'll stop. I'm done.
Next is, most sellers and tenants are still uneasy letting people into their homes until COVID-19 concerns subside. Can we respect their option to decline in-person showings and still keep the listing in an active status?
Yes.
That was
I don't
quick.
think you need to modify any agreements at this point because the order supersedes that. So I don't have any reservations about saying yes.
Okay, next is commercial property inspection limited, to office or commercial property. The guidance stated office buildings specifically.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that, Sharon?
Is commercial property inspection limited to office or other commercial property? The guidance stated office buildings specifically.
I'm not aware of any such limitation. The references to home inspections, and but it pertains to commercial office showings. I'm sorry, residential and commercial office showings. It was just I didn't comprehend the question right away. So yes, let me go back. The point is that the terms of the exemption, and again, you have to look at it as an exemption or exception from the general rule that says no personal contact, no involvement at the site. The residential and commercial office showings are okay. So if somebody's trying to sell a vacant land, that's not residential home or commercial office showings. But I would submit to you that in that situation, you could also go with the prospective buyer or meet the seller at the vacant land and take a look at it and walk the site, so long as you are protecting yourself, staying apart, that sort of thing. And it's going to be a good sort of question that I don't have a 100% answer to with regard to other commercial properties. So an office, that's easy because that's what it says. But if you have a shopping plaza that somebody is looking to sell, that's not a commercial office necessarily. And so that might be something that is a stretch. We're just going to have to see if you want to venture to do that, then my suggestion at this point is do it as a manner as protective as possible, recognizing that there may be a risk that somebody will say you're going beyond the bounds of the deemed essential business.
Next question is, any thoughts of those who apply for unemployment?
Okay, so first, I am not a labor and employment attorney, but our law firm has issued its own advice and recently, yesterday, I believe, had a helpful webinar on this issue. And the good news that the CARE Act has provided unemployment insurance for independent contractors. So this has been, to my knowledge, not available in the past. But again, the order is something that is so strong that it prohibits barbers, hairdressers, all manner of folks that work on their own, contractors and realtors from doing their business. And so they are eligible, as best I understand, for unemployment insurance.
This one
And
ends. I gotta go. I'll be back. I gotta pick up something at Rick Hill's office. He's only gonna be there.
okay, we just got a little interruption. Anyway, so the state pays some of the unemployment insurance, I believe up to $500 some. And then the federal government is providing an additional $600 for unemployment insurance. And so I'm sorry, I can't give you a definitive answer, but the best answer I can give you is apply. So you can apply. I realize it's a very difficult bureaucratic nightmare right now, but you can apply for unemployment insurance. It's retroactive to January, and it goes for 39 weeks, which gives us about 10 months through the end of the year. And so it is worthwhile doing, and a person can also obtain partial unemployment insurance, less than that amount that I just quoted. And the burden will be on the applicant to show how much he or she is working. So if you say, I'm not working at all, and you're an independent contractor, there may be other questions that I'm not familiar with that the state may ask about, have you tried to get work? That usually is the key question. And what efforts have you made? So if somebody is making 5 sales and that's it, that is working to some degree. And that may, that should be revealed as part of the application. But if somebody is elderly and has pre-existing conditions, as the phrase goes, and they say, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to go out there at this time, then they should apply for 100% and state what their conditions are so that the state in its unemployment insurance program takes that all into account.
The follow-up to that next was, does this change a realtor's ability to file and receive? I think that answered the question by partial or.
Is this, what does this change? I'm sorry.
The change by making us essential is what they're referring to. Does the change?
Well, again, I don't know the answer completely, other than I do know that you can still apply for unemployment insurance. And it is quite possible, in the range of possibilities, that the state will make a determination that real estate brokers, by virtue of what they do and what they can do from home and by remote, are not going to be eligible for unemployment insurance. So I just want to warn you about that, but I have no idea whether that will actually occur. And as I said at the beginning, every day we learn something new.
Next question, does the seller have to disclose that someone is positive for COVID-19?
Very interesting question. I don't think, well, let me put it this way. When we had the AIDS epidemic several years ago, there was a strong lobby effort that obtained a provision in the real property law that basically said the broker is not going to be liable if there are parties in the property that have had AIDS, generally stated. There's more specifics to it. We don't have that kind of exemption for brokers in this particular order. Again, I read to you what the exemption is with regard to real estate brokers, and that's all we know. This may be something that NAR and NISAR may want to pursue with the state, at least, to get some degree of protection for brokers going forward. Disclosure, if somebody has it, I think in good faith that seller should make that disclosure. If the broker knows that that is the case, then I recommend that the broker say you should make that disclosure. And obviously that will have an impact on people who may say thanks, but no thanks.
Next question, are photographers deemed essential?
Photographers are not deemed essential based on the current information. So they can go into properties at their own risk, that they are not essential services. They can make their own application to the ESD to obtain a waiver if that's what they want to do. They will have to describe why they deem that they are essential. So it falls back, I think, on the broker to work with the seller to take the pictures in the property, with the broker giving guidance to the seller as to what needs to be done.
The next one says, it's from Ralph's iPad Pro. Can I pose a scenario by speaking?
What did you say in the beginning, Sharon? I didn't get that.
This is the person who's requesting it, Ralph's iPad Pro. His question is, can I pose a scenario by speaking?
I think if I might interject here, he went on and did write, hold on. Pete, do you have it?
I do.
It's not a question, it's a showing alternative?
Yeah, he was asking about a showing alternative, and he said, I would suggest in vacant showings to simply open the door, go sit in your car, and let people go through. When they are done and gone, you can lock up the house and talk on the phone after. I'm sure he's looking for guidance on whether that's an okay scenario.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Yes, to that question, again, the broker needs to protect himself or herself in that those kind of showings, and that is certainly a legitimate way to do it. Obviously, there might be a safety concern in terms of security concern, rather, in terms of being sure that the person that is inspecting doesn't have a quick hand to pick up stuff that's exposed, but that's like any other situation that you would have when you, as a broker, are bringing somebody to a property.
Okay. Margaret Hartman has requested to give a few comments from Region 2 Zoom meeting yesterday.
Go ahead, Pete.
Margaret, you're unmuted, so if you're still with us, go ahead and give us the update. She is unmuted.
Margaret?
Maybe we'll get back to her. So I think we'll carry on and we'll get back to her.
This is just somebody saying that we try and we are misquoted. Sometimes you have to let the members vent their own, sometimes ineffective ways.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
The next one.
Guys, it's Sharon?
Yes.
That's me. It's Miriam.
Yes.
My point was, I had a couple conversations where I was totally misquoted. I know that I spoke to you, John. I know that Donna got the wrong message. So people are just, trying to do their best to find a way around things. So the question was, is our managers telling their offices what to do and not to do? And the answer is yes. And so the managers have really stepped up a lot. I've spoken to a number of managers, but when someone wants something that they want and they misquote us, then sometimes we just kind of back off a little bit, because the message is very clear to not to go into homes. But the message that came out was Miriam said XYZ, which was so untrue. So as a manager, sometimes we have to take a step back because people are grabbing onto anything they can to support their own personal position.
Thank you, Miriam.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay. The next one is from Charlie Hunt. Would a uniform position, i.e. no showings allowed, taken by all brokers of an association present.
Well, that's a very interesting question. I don't know if this is something that the antitrust laws are designed to deal with. The greater concern here, I think, is the safety of all people. And so, yes, there is an issue of restraining competition by saying to people, you can't do this. But if everybody is agreed by way of the structure of brokerages, so again, remember, a broker is in charge of his or her agents, and a broker is responsible for regulating what goes on. The problem comes in by way of if the association mandates this. The question is a very good one and interesting from a legal perspective, but I think in terms of if everybody was willing to do that, then you would end up with some degree of argument, stronger, that there's a safety factor here that overrides any anti-competition issues.
Okay. The next one is to Charlie Hunt's point. Should BNAR advise our agents to stop circulating petitions to, quote, stop showings in order to prevent any antitrust risk?
The association has some degree of exposure. What that degree is, I don't know. But again, in terms of the safety, that is the overriding factor. As counsel to the BNAR, I don't suggest to stop doing that if that's what you want to do.
Okay. Do you offer any advice to brokers of residential property management?
Brokers who are residential property managers, is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, well, property management, to the extent it takes care of maintenance and the ordinary repairs and so forth of property, they are allowed to do their business under the terms of the guidance that the state has issued. And so brokers can, in fact, perform those duties. Again, we have the limitations that are stated in the general prohibition that if you don't need to be there to perform the duty, then don't be there. If it can be undertaken in the office somehow, or excuse me, from home, that's where it should be undertaken. And again, the limitations are if the maintenance manager is in an office setting, there should be as few as possible personnel there that have to be there and allow more people to work from home.
Okay.
Margaret Hartman says she's called in, so how can we get her to give us the update from Region 2?
We're on it, Miriam. We will have her do that in a minute. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay,
Sharon.
now that we are considered essential, does this mean we are not eligible, well, unemployment or the PUA?
I think we addressed this question before, but I will just reiterate, when we say essential, that is nice to hear, so to speak, under the ruling of complete prohibition. But the exception that has been presented is very limited, okay, in terms of what you are allowed to do. And so that would restrain, if you will, what your working ability is, in my view. And so if you don't want to do it or your work is more limited than ever before, then you can apply for unemployment insurance and see what the state is willing to give. These will be determinations that will be made in due course. Some may be acceptable and others may not. And the unemployment insurance program has an appeal process that can be pursued if you need to do that.
And that would bring us to Margaret. That was the last question.
Margaret will be the last speaker, followed by Donna, and then we will wrap up. Margaret?
I've unmuted.
Now I'm hoping you,
Yep, you're clear.
can you hear me now? I am sorry. My equipment works, but not for something this sophisticated. Okay, just a few things I wanted to say. First of all, I concur with everything. And I heard it seems like I've already heard it all yesterday, but what I want to do is reiterate a few things that are happening on the other side of the state in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Everything Charlie says is true. We are moving target. The changes are coming in through by the minute and the hour, and of course, our members are getting different sources, even though we're trying to keep them to us as the source, Buffalo, Niagara. They're looking at other places and they're making their own interpretations. Some clarity on NISAR. Just like you guys are getting blasted, our leadership is getting blasted by members that are independent contractors that want to go to work, that want to finish sales that were in progress, that were listings that were already up for sale and had showings on them. They gave NISAR an awful lot of pressure. NISAR's job was just to keep seeking from the Empire State Development Agency, that's where the DOS sent them, is to talk to them for any type of clarity, and they were doing that just so our members would have a true source if anyone put a claim against them for working when they're not supposed to work. So what came out last night came out of Empire State Development Agency. Not that we're supposed to do business as usual, is with all the vim, vigor, and vitality that we were doing it with. We're hoping to get back there sometimes later this spring or summer. But to finish up, to still serve clients that needed to be served. And members are independent contractors and truly can make their own decisions not to work through this crisis. So that's what they were doing. So that's the source. Empire State Development said what Charlie has been saying over and over, what we can do. Common sense, we're going to hope, would prevail out of the way the agents handle this, what they identify if they have sick agents or sick sellers. We're hoping common sense prevails, but we know that's not always true. New Jersey got the go-ahead order before New York did. And Jared Grasso, who's the state CEO of New Jersey, said, all hell is going to break loose and has broken loose for New Jersey. He has 50% of his members sending them hate mail that they've let showings happen. What kind of organization is this? What kind of people are we? So I just wanted to prepare you guys, and Donna reiterated that from the beginning. What she was getting slammed with some people who wanted to go back to work. There's all these other people who do not choose to go back to work and think that the BNAR is supposed to halt this. And that's not BNAR's position to halt it. It's just the purveyor of what's happening out there. And again, but he said it's horrible. He's got members that are just hate mail. He said hate mail, calls, terrible. He never saw such uproar. So get ready for that. And then just in ending, the social media is a problem. Our agents are saying way, way too much on social media. The consumer is interpreting us as a bunch of God only knows what, and we're going to make it more difficult for us to dig ourselves out of this hole. I don't know how to rein in social media. I know you addressed it a couple times with some comments, but we've got to keep reminding our agents social media is not for a venue for arguments for this, because there is an other audience besides just realtors reading it. So those are the things that are coming down from Region 2, from states that are experiencing this, and our own state associations getting a lot of pressure from its members as well. So it's not going to be easy for you guys, and I don't know what the right answer is, other than these people need to make common sense decisions and move forward carefully. But there were businesses they were concerned with. These were some of the comments. People are wondering about final walkthroughs. They wanted complete sales that have been in the works, listings that have been on the market that had a lot of action on them, and now contracts want to come in on them. A certain amount can be done electronically, but a certain amount of it still needs some presence in the building itself, in the house itself. And that's where all the questions were coming into NISAR. So take it where it is. I know John and Donna and our whole leadership team, and Pete, thanks for setting this up. And then when this is all done, Pete, you guys fix me up the right way. on these Zoom things.
Margaret.
Okay.
I promise I
Okay,
will.
thank you.
Margaret.
Thank you.
One more thing, a follow-up question came right after that about the property management. The question was referring to, he said, my question on property management is more regarding fair housing practices. Should we continue showings of vacant homes?
Well, there is no suspension of the fair housing law and regulations. So certainly, to understand the question, it's a bit confusing. If you are showing properties, you have to abide by the fair housing law without exception. And I think, I don't know what else to say on that particular statement.
Is Chris Valentine still on? Can you unmute him?
Doesn't look like he's on anymore. He may have jumped on. We're down to 127 participants. We were at 144 at our.
Oh, he
gotta
said,
close
sorry, I
this.
don't have a mic.
Okay, Donna?
John, before we go to Donna, if I may just touch on two other things.
Please.
One is simply that everybody should understand, I know you're doing your business, but life goes on in the sense that the law allows businesses, not-for-profits, to engage in meetings and conduct business. So the board of directors, for example, of the BNAR is perfectly capable of conducting its business by way of telephone conference or a Zoom situation like this, where everybody can hear each other and ideally see each other. So long as that communication is available, those meetings can occur and action items can be undertaken. The other point that has also been lifted in a very unusual way with regard to local governments and public authorities. So they too can, typically they too can now do business over the phone, as opposed to having public meetings where they have to be physically present in the room. There is an obligation to record that particular exchange in the phone conferences. But so what does this mean in terms of your business? Zoning boards can still meet by way of telephone. Other land use planning organizations can still meet by way of telephone and conduct their business. And I know several of the towns in the city, Buffalo, they are engaging in continuation of their meeting processes to do business, okay? The other point I would make is what I think some of you already know, that the attorneys, while they cannot generally go to their offices, they can still conduct their work from home, and many are, particularly in the real estate area. The issue has been largely the locking up of the doors of the Erie County Clerk's Office and other county clerks across the state, but they are still accepting as we know today, deeds and other documents that need to be recorded or filed by mail. And they are, in fact, doing that and working with the title insurance companies. So if ever there was the time to say, this is and I'm not a salesman at all for title insurance companies, I'm no longer an examining agent, but get fee ownership insurance, because that is a major protection for anybody purchasing property. Thank you. We can't hear you, John.
Donna?
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I guess I'll speak, and then John, I'm sure you'll follow up with how we're going to move forward. But, just if I could reiterate, we've got some really powerful, great managers out there. And I would love to see us all on the same page. The text and the emails that I'm receiving all night long, I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning, coming to me which is great. And that's, I took this position for better or worse, but we need to come together. We need to have, we need to be unified. We're not going to be able to stop anybody from going out there and working. We just want them working in a safe fashion, so we're all on the same page. One broker doesn't say one thing. This is one point in time where all the brokers need to come together and become unified in getting out there. How are we going to accomplish keeping our members safe, our families safe? We are not even in the height of this virus. And look at, I love working. Nobody likes working more than me. I feel like somebody's tied me up and thrown me in the closet, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. If we can somehow connect as brokers, as owners, as managers, and so that I'm not saying one thing, somebody out in social media is throwing something out there which has to stop. We have to be unified. If I don't comment on social media, I'm the bad guy. If I comment, I'm the bad guy. Donna, why are you doing this? They're coming to me, and I'm okay with that. But if I can have your backup, if we can all have something, put something together, protocol. Amber and I were talking earlier. We've got a great leadership team. I'm so proud of everybody. They've worked so hard. BNAR staff is amazing. You have to know how hard we're working. We're working 8-10 hours a day on this, and this keeps me up nightly. I don't sleep. So please, if we can do something to become unified as brokers, get on the same page, keep them safe, continue to work in a reasonable fashion so that I'm not getting bombarded with, and probably everybody's going to get bombarded with the hate mail that Margaret just spoke of. And again, social media, please keep your questions to your brokers, your managers, and to us. Don't put questions out there to agents that are already confused and baffled. What you're doing is stirring the pot. We need to keep the pot unstirred. I'm going to stop talking because you're all muted. It's so fun. That's it. That's it, John.
So
Take it away.
real quick, going back to a comment that I think Charlene made, level heads need to prevail. We're putting together some protocols. We will attack this from working with NISAR, trying to get something delayed if possible. We will put out the protocols again to the broker owners and the members on what is good guidance. Obviously, safety and care for the members, their families, and the public is priority. We understand that some members, a lot of members, are eager to get back to work, but this is an unprecedented situation. This isn't normal business.
No.
So we appreciate all your time and your effort. We will set up some more of these for next week. As we get information, as Donna said, go to our website, reach out to any of the executive committee members or staff, the directors, and just be safe out there. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I'm going to close the meeting now. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, Peter.